Hey, welcome back to the challenge. Today we're going to work on, hey Ollie, today we're going to work on opening up the body for shoulder stand. And we're going to do the preparation for shoulder stand. So shoulder stand is this amazing and powerful pose. However, it got a lot of bad press. Maybe like 8 years ago, I remember this whole scene there was an article in the New York Times about how yogis are ruining their necks practicing yoga. And you might have not known this, but yoga is so dangerous. And like as yoga teachers, we were like, yeah, we already knew all this. Like you can really mess up yourself bad by doing poses that A, you're not ready for, that you haven't opened up for properly yet, or doing the poses without a proper foundation. So we're gonna learn that today. We're gonna learn what the foundation is to protect your neck, like in the Wu-Tang Clan song. So let's get started in Supta Baddha Konasana. Lie down onto your back. Take the soles of the feet together and the knees wide apart. And for today's class, we have a strap to do a little bit of hamstring opening.
You want to be in that pup? We're going to go under the tunnel.
All right, so first clear your animal off of your mat at home so that you can come into the practice. So I want you to think of your sometimes people will tell me like that their hamstrings are very tight and it's preventing them from folding forward, from going deeper into some of the poses. And that's partly true, but I want you to consider your whole back body. Instead of just thinking of yourself as muscles, think of yourself as a whole connected network of muscles in the whole back body. Because that's how our body is. We have these deeper fascial connections that will connect any tension in any part of the back body through this layer of fascia. And actually, we used to think that when something was tight, like, oh, it's just my muscle is really tight, well, actually, no, now that it's that the fascia isn't moving well over the muscle, that your muscle, how much your muscle will stretch or contract, that's already predetermined. And then what happens is when you start to lose flexibility, it's because you haven't broke up the fascia over the muscle. It starts to build up over time if you don't move your body well or if you don't stretch ever. So that's what we're going to work on today, opening up the whole back body for shoulder stand. So take your right leg or knees together and then take your right leg straight up into the strap. All right, so first things first, with a little bend in the knee, just let the thigh bone drop down into the hip socket and let the pelvis come into neutral. So it's not flattened into the mat and it's not arched. It's neutral so that the hip bones are in line with the pubic bone. And then slowly start to stretch the left leg out along the floor. So we practice a little bit of this on restorative day. Then flex your left foot like it's up against the wall and let the left thigh bone descend. Then see if you can start to breathe the right leg longer or more straight while still lengthening through your lower back. If your buns are tucked under, then your lower back isn't as long as it could get. It's starting to pull under and shorten. So reach the tailbone down and towards your left heel. And don't worry if that leg goes all the way straight or not. Then bend your knee and change legs. Take your left leg up into the strap. So first stretch the right leg all the way out with a little bend in the left knee. And then reach to this foot. This is like your mountain pose leg. So as you reach to the heel, drop the thigh bone down. Let the pelvis come into neutral so the lower back has its curve again. And let this left hip crease release down and away from you. Then see if you can start to breathe that left leg towards straight without the hip crease jumping up. Keep releasing the hip crease. Keep dropping the thigh into the socket as the foot reaches, because that's how you make your leg longer, if the thigh can plug in more as the foot stretches. And make sure that that lower back didn't flatten down. Reach your tailbone down out of your lower back and towards your right heel. And then see if the leg can come a little bit. Breathe a little bit longer with the leg without letting the hip crease jump up. All right, good. Then bend that left knee And take your strap to the side. Take your legs up in a tabletop position. Inhale your arms up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, crunch up to your knees. Let's work the abdomen a little bit. Okay, so as you hold your abs in here, slowly send your left leg forward, keeping the low ab tucked in. And then change legs, slowly change legs. Keep those abs engaged. Slowly change legs, abs in tight. Slowly change legs. Slowly change legs. Then hold there and raise that extended leg up a little and stretch your bent leg out to meet it. But hold those abs in tight, 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 squeeze. Then rebend your knees and lower your head down. Okay, then plant your hands at your side. So we're gonna try to make the ab work a little more challenging with a longer lever. So when you have more weight or a straight leg, it adds more weight, it's a longer lever, and it's gonna challenge your core more. So if your back isn't very healthy, you should just stick with bent knees. Otherwise, we'll try with a straight leg. See how it goes. Send your left leg forward slowly and start to lower it. Good. And then see if you can straighten your right leg all the way out. If your hammies are very tight and it distorts the spine, just keep the bend in the knee. Otherwise, with straight legs, slowly change legs. Good. Slowly change legs. And think of your middle like a brick. Don't let it move around at all. Slowly change legs. Slowly change legs. Slowly change legs. And slowly change legs. Good, then take both legs straight up. And now let me see if you can totally start to straighten your knees out. Squeeze the tops of the knees, open up the feet, and then take your arms up to the ceiling and stretch your arms all the way back towards the wall behind you. As the arms go back, keep your back ribs pressed down into the mat and stretch the hips out of your back. Tighten the tops of the knees. Good, then rebend your knees and lower your feet down. All right, roll over to your side. Press yourself up to seated and take downward facing dog. Then walk your feet up to the front of your mat. Take your feet like hip distance apart, put a little bend in your knees and let your head drop. Just a few breaths, let the spine release. All right, then bring your hands onto your hips. Reach down through your feet and come all the way up to stand. Raise your arms up as you inhale. Then drop your right arm to your side and reach over to your right. Press down through your left heel. Use your breath to help to open up your left side body. Inhale, come back up. Take your right arm up and drop your left arm, reach over to the left. Press through the right heel. Breathe space into your side body. Come back up, both arms up. Then fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back, lengthen out your spine. Step back one leg at a time into plank pose. Good, hold in your plank, strong in plank. Lift your belly, firm the legs. All right, now without letting your spine round at all, just raise your right leg up 1 inch. Then bring your knee up without rounding. Stretch the leg back, change legs, raise your left leg 1 inch. Bring your knee up without rounding. Change legs, right leg up 1 inch. Bring your knee up, stretch it back, change legs, knee up. Good, just 40 more times. Stretch it, just kidding. Stretch it back. Last one. Leg up, knee up, stretch it back. Last one, knee up, pull it up, stretch it back. Good, set your knees down, stretch back to child's. Whew. Oh my gosh. All right. Good morning core, or whatever time of day you're doing this, afternoon. Okay, come back up onto your hands and your knees. Then come onto your elbows. And one leg at a time, step back to plank. Here we go. Spread those collarbones, lift the inner thighs. Now raise your right leg 1 inch, turn the thigh out. Without your left hip sinking, bring that leg up to the side like a tree pose leg. Then stretch the leg back, change legs. Keep those blades on the back, turn that left thigh out and bring that knee up. Stretch it back, set the foot down. Lift the right, turn that thigh out, bring it up, stretch it back. Change legs, last one. Keep those blades out of the back on both sides. Turn that thigh, bring the knee up, stretch it back. Good job. Set your pelvis down for Sphinx pose. So Sphinx can feel really good on your spine. If it feels like it's all like starting to go into your lower back, I want you to take that curve up your spine, like you're trying to move the curve of the lower back up into the middle back, up into the upper back. And if the elbows are right under the shoulders and the back bend feels extreme, you could try taking your elbows forward more so it's less of a back bend. All right, then curl your toes, lift your knees, lift your hips up. Now interlock your hands and walk into down dog on your forearms. Press the forearms down, but keep releasing those blades out of your ears. So we're training the arms how to engage without hiking the blades up. That's the tendency in the body. So press those forearms, but keep moving your blades away from your ears. And then try to grow the spine longer, like you're lifting your tailbone up to the ceiling. Let the neck lengthen and release. Hey, Ollie, you're back. Okay, good. Now, raise your right leg up from the inner thigh. But remember our talk about foundations. Still stay even on your forearms. If you feel your neck is starting to shorten on one side, just set the foot back down. Change legs. Lift the left leg up from the inner thigh. Press those forearms. Move both blades out of your neck. Let the neck lengthen. Good, then lower that foot down. Set your knees down and rest in child's pose. Yeah, it's kind of intense. All right, it's getting real now.
All warmed up.
All warmed up. Ready to get those shoulders going for some shoulder standing. Okay, go back into down dog now. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Then from down dog, step your right foot for warrior one. Step your foot all the way up by your thumb. Turn your back heel, lift your belly and come up through the midline. Good. Lift from your left side lower belly up to your right shoulder and stretch through the front of your left hip down to your ankle. Take a few breaths here, energize through your arms. And keeping the arms active, see if you can lunge just a little bit deeper, maybe as long as the left side belly stays lifted up to your right shoulder. Good, then bring your hands back down to the mat. Step back to down dog, or if you'd like to add a vinyasa, you can. If the shoulders or wrists are feeling tired, please just skip. Then step your left foot up by your left thumb. Turn your back heel for warrior one. The back foot angles in a little more than halfway. Lift your belly and come up through the midline. Good. So lift from the right side lower belly up towards the left shoulder and stretch through your back leg. Grow tall through your spine. Energize the arms. All right, good. Then hands back down to your mat. Step back to dog or take a vinyasa. Look forward in between your hands. Step or float up to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale into chair pose. Bend your knees, sit your hips back. Strong arms. Turn from the outer upper arm forward. Weight back into your heels. Lift up from the front of your spine. Good, then press all the way up to stand. Bring your hands to your heart. Okay, so Caroline has very open hamstrings, but for the sake of our friends at home, we're gonna show this pose a little modified, this next variation of Parsvottanasana, which I couldn't remember what the correct name was yesterday, but we figured it out. Step your left foot back about 3.5 feet, and then we're gonna set up blocks like right up at the front of the mat, either side of the foot. All right, maybe leg just a little further back. Then hands onto your hips. Turn your shoulders back and open up your chest. Then start to tip from your pelvis and fold forward halfway. Put your fingertips on your blocks, and let me see if you can get a flat back like this with your hands on the blocks with the fingertips down. If it feels difficult to, you could bring your hands up onto your leg, higher, whatever you need to. Good, and keep stretching down through your back heel. Keep that back heel connected. Open up the feet where it feels like they're trying to shrink. Hold there for one more breath. And then as you release your navel to your spine, start to fold forward all the way. Give up the blocks now and put the hands on the floor if possible. Nice. But keep growing your legs longer. Even if the right leg is bent, if you need to bend your right leg a little bit to get the pelvis to tip, that's fine. But keep the feeling like you're stretching your foot down as you pull your thigh up to help to stretch those muscles out. Good, then inhale, come back up onto your fingertips or onto blocks. As you exhale, bring your hands to your hips, press through your feet and come up to stand. Good, step your left foot forward and step your right foot back, about 3.5 feet. Big step back. Big step will help you to get deeper into this. Then with your hands on your hips, start to tip from your pelvis, fold forward just halfway. Then set the fingertips onto blocks or whatever you have to, chair, whatever you need to get a flat back. So feel that the whole spine lengthen, the side ribs reach forward as both of the hips reach back out of your back, like your ribs and your hips are getting pulled in opposite directions. Stretch and open up the feet, and as your navel moves in, lengthen all the way out over that leg. Good, then inhale, come back up onto fingertips or blocks. Exhale, hands to hips. Press down through your feet and come all the way up to stand. All right, then parallel your feet. Clasp your hands behind your back and start to squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. So you can see from the front of the shoulder turns to the outer shoulder. The triceps turn in towards each other. And as you do this, you might feel that your ribs want to push way out. Let your floating ribs soften back into your body as you turn those shoulders. Then imagine I put a pencil in between your blades and I want you to keep it held there. Keep that squeeze as you start to tip from your pelvis and fold forward. And then see if you can stretch your hands up off your buns without losing that feeling like you're still holding a little pencil in between your blades. Then reach down through your feet, come back up, change the interlock of your hands, other index finger on top, turn those shoulders again, and then start to fold forward in between your legs. Stay even on your feet. If it's difficult, if you get stuck, if it feels like it's sticky, bend the knees a little bit and ground through the feet. Otherwise, if your hamstrings are very open, you just keep stretching the legs towards straight. Come back up, press down through your feet. Good. So I just want to show an alternative. If you have very tight, broad shoulders, and when you clasp your hands behind your back, your shoulder rolls in like mine, instead of turns out like Caroline's does, then you can take a strap. This is like the cooking channel and they have it already done. I've got the strap already ready here. It's like shoulder distance apart. I'm just going to show it. it goes above hands go into the strap, and you take it just above your wrist, and you try to break out on the strap. And that helps to turn your shoulders. So if you have tight shoulders, broad shoulders, you can use a strap in this pose instead. Okay, that was all that was about. Now this is important for what we're gonna work on next. Step your feet together. And then take your mat over to the wall. Let's just mosey on over here. Thank you. Okay, so for this next one, you're gonna sit with your buns close to the wall, but maybe like about a foot away from the wall. Go ahead, or lie down rather. Lie down, buns close to the wall. Okay. Then the knees bend, feet go onto the wall. And then you're gonna grab a hold of the sides of your sticky mat. Okay, so this sticky mat bind is gonna work kind of like the strap bind or the hand clasp behind your back. Spin the front of the shoulder to the back of the shoulder and feel the back of the shoulder press down into the mat. Then lift your hips up off the floor. And if it feels like you're too close to the wall, that's usually a sign that you're too close to the wall and you should just move yourself a little further away, or vice versa. But see if you can get way up onto the top shoulders so that this little bone right here releases away from the floor. And then make sure that the chin isn't tucked, but the chin is level with the ceiling. And press those top shoulders so that that little neck bone finds space away from the floor. Ooh, that little neck bone there. Oh, now it's starting to move. Look at that. Nice. Just need to get a little finger in there. Okay, so pretend like you had a probing finger, very awkward, into your neck bone there. And as you roll up onto those top shoulders, feel that space. This is the first step in shoulder stand. If I put my finger there and I feel that one of my students' neck is pushing down, they're not allowed to go any further. But Caroline has it. If you have it, then bring your feet together and bring one leg off the wall, straight up. And then change legs. Come down if you need to. If you feel that neck bone is sinking, come back down. Good, set that foot back down, and then lower your buns back down. All right, great job. So for some necks, this is gonna be impossible for a while. You can also set up blankets under your shoulders, which I'll show a little later. Let's practice it one more time. What do you say? How'd it feel?
Do it.
Okay. All right, lift your hips back up. Roll up onto those top shoulders. Bring the chin into a neutral position so it's not tucked. And then see if you can get that little bone. There you go, nice job. Then feet together. Start with the other leg this time. So the left leg goes up. Nice. Change legs, right leg up. Good, then both legs down. Bring your hands onto your back ribs one at a time. Point the fingers towards each other. And then use your hands to lift the skin of the back ribs up away from the floor towards the butt. Then one hand at a time, put the hands back down and lower your buns back down. Good. Just relax here. Let the neck release. All right, then open up your arms to the side like cactus arms, or you don't have a plant in your way, so you could do straight arms. And let your feet go all the way over to the right. Just walk your feet kind of like along your wall, but it's like Pashasana, knees bent twist. Like let the hips fall over, yeah. So, as we were discussing between each other, this is like a modified version of Pashasana. Then walk the feet back up and let the knees bend, go over to the left. You can let your neck release by turning your head to the right. All right, then walk your feet back up. Take your legs straight up. And then for this one, depending on how tight your hips are for this next stretch, you'll want to scoot anywhere from 6 to 12 inches away from the wall. But I think maybe for you, just 4 inches. Okay, then cross your right ankle just above your left knee. And then start to slide your left heel down the wall to knee height-ish. Like you're gonna do ankle to knee pose, because that's what you're gonna do. Let me see this thing. And just slide that left heel down a little.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so this is like doing ankle to knee, except you don't have to pull with your arms. So it's like a little more relaxed variation of the stretch. But I want you to actively stretch both of your hips out of your lower back. And then open up this right foot like it's up against the wall as you let, your right thigh turn out. Slide your heel back up. Change the cross. Cross the left ankle over the right knee and slide that right heel down. Let the buns drop back down. So if your bun's lifted way up to get the heel further down the wall, instead just take the heel up higher and let the buns drop down. And stretch both hips out of your back evenly. The effort to reach the hips out of the back is going to help to open up the piriformis better on that side. Then slide your heel back up for Shavasana, corpse pose. Close your eyes and just relax. Then bend your knees and roll over to your side. And press yourself up to seated. Sit up tall with your palms together, the eyes closed. Namaste. All right, thanks for watching today. Hey, so just, yeah, all right. It's been going around here in this area. All right, so I just want to remind you that we stuck with the foundation, and our first like theme that we were working with at the beginning of the challenge was non-harming. So we want to make sure that we're practicing ahimsa, that we're not harming our body just to get into the pose because we saw it on the video or whatever, what have you. If you have a history of cervical compression, or it's not a good idea for you because you have neck issues, then that pose really shouldn't be for you. You can just do that bridge variation that we worked yesterday. If it didn't feel right today, if the neck feels a little off, go back to just doing that bridge variation until you start to get stronger and the neck and the spine starts to get healthier. As your paraspinals start to get healthier, as they become more flexible and stronger, you'll start to be able to do more extreme things with your body without injuring it. So it's super important. All right, stick with the challenge and I'll see you tomorrow.